Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight on Whole Health Weekly. Pretty excited. Like, I'm starting to learn some new things. I got this new, like, little video intro that I was able to do during the day so that, just gives people ideas on like what the Whole Health Weekly is. So glad to get back in the flow, because of the Christmas holiday. We were off a little bit, but we only missed like 2 shows, which is pretty good. So, I'm getting excited because our audience keeps growing one person at a time, and that's what I love. I love about, just the pure organicness of, if I think, and in this world of internet, it's much different. You try to be the best chiropractor to each person that ever walks in your door, right? And that pays dividends over time. All of a sudden, those things kind of go organically. In the internet world, it's not exactly that. You got to get really discovered. So I keep trying different things just to get better at them. But it's one of those things. I have this principle. I'm not going to go buy people to watch it, just to show, oh man, I got 1,000 whatevers. So I'm pretty proud of my Rumble. That's like 73 people. And my podcast is pretty cool. It's like up to like 40. I'm almost to 5,000 downloads, which is really kind of cool. I get excited about it because I think there is people out there that would really, really like to learn, the body and the innate intelligence and what it can do for you. You know what I mean? And if we can change that mindset of the sick care model that we currently have, where we constantly are just taking care of sicknesses instead of creating ease, right? Creating a new flow of life, like your body needs no help. It just needs no interference. And when that concept starts to gain inside you, you start gaining another perspective. I heard a great motivational quote today. This guy used, when we talk about, creating good joy and positivity in your life, be a lightning rod for this positivity and joy. And I say, like, to be a lightning rod, you have to have the right conductivity, right? And so if your body is made and created and it's the perfect magnet, right? It's the perfect conductive piece, then you can be that lightning rod for good health, right? Start attracting the good health cells that heal, all of those things. If you start thinking in that direction, that's when you know that innate intelligence will be good. So with that said, I want to first promote myself shamelessly. So we will go. Remember, if you like Rumble's like a YouTube that is pretty awesome. I really have liked Rumble a lot. It's a simpler version of YouTube, not as crazy. There's so many things on YouTube, which is obvious. They're just the dominant force. We have a YouTube channel as well. So we have, if you look up The Prize Inside, A Chiropractor's Journey, you will find a YouTube channel. And I'd love to get people growing on that as well. So we have a YouTube, we have a Rumble that I'm going to put in the chat. Our chat is going. So we got any of these, if you could subscribe to them, a lot of times you're going to be able to get like the old videos and all those kind of things, right? Terry, hello. It's nice to see you. Thank you. Hopefully you'll enjoy tonight. I got some good articles that came out and very good. A little bit on, light, the microbiome, a lot of those things. We're going to discuss the food pyramid, which I was very excited about. I was like, got to listen to some interesting stuff to see where we're actually going. And the pushback's pretty fascinating, to be honest with you, on a vaccine schedule, which I'm not going to get controversy on here, but wow. Recommended 72 vaccinations down to 11. And I think people are like losing their ever-loving mind, which is kind of funny, but we'll go into, some of that. So So remember YouTube, the Rumble, if you get on there, it's called The Prize Inside, and you subscribe to it, you get any like thumbs up, hearts, whatever they do on there. And each one you like, but in there is an index of like ones that you can watch, right? So we went over, what did we do last? I can't remember what we did. We did a herb last week, and it was really, really good. And so it's those one, oh, elderberry, duh. So we did elderberry this weekend on Sunday. So that could be a recording if you're interested in the other things that elderberry does, just then get you out of a sickness, right? There's a lot of other benefits to it. So remember that if you subscribe, all those videos are there, and then hopefully you can find information you like. Okay. And then I really am pushing. It's called tribe1.substack.com. That is where you can get an email of when I go live. Okay. So, and my hope is eventually I get that. I got that one up to like 56 people. And I really, really want to do an article or two, on different things. Haven't figured out the time to do that yet. But, oh, really? You started? Oh, yes. Did you like it? Oh, yeah. Put in there how you like it so far. Oh, good. Holy basil's pretty freaking amazing. Terry, you can also thank Brian for that. Brian kind of got me kickstarted on the thought process of that one. And I've really, really like it. It's always interesting how different herbs are fantastic in different ways. Have a really cool one to tell you guys about. So chamomile is a very, very safe in all kinds of aspects, right? So in herbs and, those kind of things. It was a tough case because this family is fantastic. Had a little tiny baby. It was 2 weeks old. And of course, in chiropractic, I love that. They bring the baby in and we get to check them and do chiropractic on them. Oh, I'm going to go over that one night. I think we're going to do that this time, chiropractic in infants, because I think people need to know that we actually do that. Well, this baby was having some difficulty in feeling uncomfortable. How do we know feeling uncomfortable? Mom tells me. Mom knows each and every piece of that cry, right? And so they were just like a little uncomfortable. And then the kid, they found out there was a couple little weird medical things that may or may not require surgery. So the docs had to do their thing and got her gut messed up a little bit. Okay. And so they bring the baby to me, and we're adjusting the baby and all those. And then the mom was like, man, but you can tell, and like all moms do, that she is super, when she's feeling the gas, it makes her the most uncomfortable. Like this kid would really, get distended from all this gas that she was having. So I had mom try a little tiny bit of a chamomile tincture, because if you remember, well, in herbal world, it's called a carminative. A carminative has an herbal action to it where it actually cuts gas, right? So if you know somebody in there, carminative. Now, chamomile is not the best one on the planet for it. It's really not. It is a effect that chamomile does have. So I had him start with like 1 drop or 2, and it was fantastic. She's like, that stuff works so good. It just calms it all down, and so that was pretty exciting for us, because it's one of those things where, especially in gas, it's like tough. Peppermint's a good carminative. That's why people did it after meals, and dill is another really good one for adult size stuff. So if somebody's struggling with gas, that's a way to go, versus taking the Gas X or whatever. Some of these bigger drugs that are out there are essentially, why not try, something in the natural world, right? Do they all work? for you necessarily, maybe, maybe not, right? Because it's what your body needs. It's what the innate intelligence of the body needs. So that's where those are, right? And that was pretty exciting stuff. In the herbalist chiropractic world is like the combination of those two things. So it's been pretty fun. And I appreciate you guys on Sunday night, man. It's like, or I'm sorry, Sunday and Wednesday night, because it's just I'm addicted. I'm addicted because I'm learning just as much as you are. Elderberry talk. I get to learn a little more in depth each time, we do these kind of conversations too. So that's the cool part. One of these days we'll have, we'll get it going where everybody knows. But so tonight we're going to talk about whole health trends that are happening in the last couple of weeks. One that we're going to talk about is the new food pyramid, which is fascinating. And then the other one is the vaccine schedule, that's a big one as of like this week. But I want to see what other health trends are out there. And then I found some really good articles from Dr. Mercola's website, which is fantastic in a lot of the different ways. He does so much in the genre of things that I really like diving in and seeing where he gets his stuff. So with that said, I am going to, let's go into it. Oh, wait, we got to start with a quote from a chiropractic. Okay. So this is a guy that we're going to study probably Wednesday night. We're going to have a little bit of study session about this guy. His name is Dr. Joseph Strauss. He had these things he calls the blue books, and he really dove into the philosophy of chiropractic, the idea of innate intelligence. What does that mean? What does it mean in all things? Like, so when we look at the human body, he was really good at understanding how we have to look at our bodies differently if we believe that the human body can fix all things. So if we believe that we are all perfect, right? And start from that premise and then go to the point of like, what is interfering with this perfection? Okay. And that's a big difference, because a lot of times our body and society has told us that we are weak, we are genetically flawed, right? And all of these things are not true, right? Not necessarily. There might be some genetics things, and they've proven that, I'm sure, right? But in a conceptual framework in your mind, if you're going, hey, I'm perfect in a lot of different ways, what can I do to not interfere and allow that body to heal itself, allow that body to express the energy? That's what your ultimate goal in health is. And once you do that, the world starts to change in how you approach all health and healing, and even using medical stuff, right? That's a big thing. We talk about that. So here is the quote that I want to use. This is from Dr. Joseph Strauss. There is nothing more important one mortal man can do for another in the area of restoring health, other than correcting the vertebral subluxation or misalignment. Step back and allow the innate intelligence of the body to express itself. So essentially he's saying, making sure your spine is in line and working properly is the most amazing way to, give to someone else. So the chiropractor is trained into regulating, recalibrating the human body. And with that recalibration comes a big benefit. The nervous system starts working better. All of a sudden, the organs start working better. Maybe the hormones start working better. Maybe, all of these things are maybe, but they're all great side effects if the human body's able to work. So that was my quote. He's a great author. I eat his books like crazy. They are just so good and get you really, really thinking. So with that said, here are the first things. These are the trending health tips. So let's find out if they're holistic in the sense of innate intelligence guided, or like those kind of things, or are they just kind of things that are, trendy health tips. And we'll see if they actually work for you. So here are some of the health tips that are buzzing online right now. All right. So prioritizing quality sleep. This is a pretty good one. Aim for 7 to 9 hours nightly with a consistent routine, like limiting screens and blue light before bed. It's called the foundation of health this year, boosting immunity, mood, and hormone balance. I can agree with that. Dr. Rachel can agree with that. She had a interesting week. She woke up on Tuesday night or Tuesday morning, and was like, "That was the best sleep I've ever had." Come last night, that was the worst sleep I've ever had. So she's going up and down, but it really messes with her or with everybody. Like if you don't sleep. Now, what's weird is as nasally as I am, you'd think I'd have like a CPAP machine and hooked up to like 6 different machines for oxygen into my face. I literally have no sleep apnea. I sleep through all night. Now, I don't know why. What's weird though, this is something I've always been fascinated with. The only time I like truly snore, like snore heavy, is one if I work out really hard and I really fall asleep hard. But that's a lighter snore. But the one that gets me is if I drink beer. Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't feel so that's why I think beer and alcohol actually gives you a fake sleep pattern. I don't think you get into like that REM or the deep sleep with alcohol. I think it fakes it. But this is me talking, not like scientifically validating it. So the people that like have to take a nightcap of wine or beer or something, I don't know if you're getting actually the depth of the sleep, but this is just my opinion on it because that's what happens with me. If you get a like beer in my system, it feels like I hadn't slept very well the night before, even though I could have been sleeping, right? So I always thought that was interesting. But having this year be try to get 7 to 9 quality hours is awesome. One of the things that we noticed in, like, say, the herbal star, there's 2 parts. Chiropractic sometimes can help a lot getting your body adjusted, relaxing that body, and then you can see the sleep happen. Very good healing capacity if you're able to sleep well. Your body heals really well. So it can really restore healing processes very, very well. And so those are some major benefits to being able to sleep. But making sure that you understand if you're not getting there, try some natural stuff, try some holistic different processes. Okay. So even like my ladies, like later on in life, we talked about this. Melatonin for a kid is not the ideal because you produce melatonin and it's a hormone. So what happens is like the kid, their innate intelligence gets this melatonin in them, and the innate intelligence is like, oh, well, you're making it already, so I'm going to stop making it. So then they become slightly addicted to it. So melatonin in a child is a slippery slope. Okay. So like it happens and you got to be very careful in making sure you're weaning that child off. As we age, we don't produce as much melatonin. So sometimes the best move, sometimes if you're an adult, sometimes melatonin could be a thing. You just have to know. My 1% tribers, my prize insiders are going to know to do it in spurts, right? So do melatonin for a while, see if you can go off of it, right? And so the reason you do that is to kind of kickstart that innate intelligence to do and produce that melatonin again. So you can try that. Several that are very good. If Brian was out tonight, I would tell he's probably experimented with the most. Holy basil that we talked about is a really nice one as well. You had that one's really, really good for a lot of different things, emotionally plus relaxation in the stress region. Passion flower is another one that no one thinks about. Sometimes when you've run out of energy or you're very energetic throughout the day, that can be a really good one. Chamomile again, huge muscle relaxer, really nice on the system, has so many other benefits. It's kind of worth trying, right? And you can try these in teas and tinctures, whatever, right? sometimes come in and talk because there's valerian root. Valerian root you hear about all the time, right? Valerian doesn't work for everybody. Valerian sometimes has a limitation. It doesn't like put you to sleep, but later it can keep you to sleep kind of thing. Okay. So, but some people it works phenomenal for, right? Hops, I'm guessing it would be my go-to if I had trouble sleeping ever, but I don't really have trouble sleeping. So, hops would be a go-to for me. And so all these different ones, but the big thing is like everybody's unique. Everybody needs those different sleeping ones. But maybe for your resolution this year, let's find out what we can do, right? Some people can't be watching. I know the one time I can't sleep is if I watch something that's like high octane before I go to bed. So, let's see. That old show was like the Game of Thrones. I wonder if any of you have watched that. So one of my buddies, this is years ago, I'd never watched any of the Game of Thrones. And so we were going golfing or something. And he's like, "You haven't watched the Game of Thrones?" I go, "No." He's like, "I kind of envy you." I go, "Why is that?" He goes, "Because you can watch like multiple episodes right in a row." I was so hooked, I had to wait till the next week every week, and so I'm like, all right, it must be good if he's saying it. Next thing I know, that thing is the craziest show. It's naughty, right? So watch yourself there. But dear Lord, the amount of action and stress in that thing was crazy. You get it. You start liking a character. You're like, oh, that guy's awesome. And then he just get killed by some like little guy. Like it was, and then you're so angry that they killed your favorite guy. Then you go on, and then you get mad, and you got to watch the next episode to see if the little guy gets what he deserves, right? So that's kind of how the Game of Thrones went. And then they just shock and awe you half the time. Everything's going good, romantic stuff, boom, everything goes crazy. So I was like, that is the interesting part of, for me though, my brain couldn't shut down half the time after watching one of these like more plot twisty shows. So I started not doing that and then getting into nice shows that don't have the giant plot twists. So that helped a little bit. And it could be as simple as that too. So just don't overwhelm yourself with that. Try different things. It's very worth doing. Okay. So that was a cool trend. Okay, I like this one too. This is going to be a trending one in the last weeks. Move your body daily in enjoyable ways. So think of 10 to 30-minute walks, wearing a weighted vest, which is kind of a cool thing now. It's not you have to do that, but weighted vest kind of adds a nice anaerobic capability. Remember, you have two types of exercise. You have aerobic, which is oxygen. You're trying to get oxygen into your body and your cells. So that's one way. And then you have anaerobic. Anaerobic's where you're kind of building muscle. So think that way without oxygen. And the weighted vest kind of helps you do that. So it kind of gains anaerobic and aerobic, I would say. But there's also gentle activities like yoga and dancing. Experts emphasize consistency over intensity. Walking 8 to 10,000 steps is a huge viral goal right now. So 8 to 10,000 steps, huge viral goal. That's been a goal for a long time. People see such a benefit of it, especially with the sit down jobs, that it's pretty awesome. Can't ever go wrong with walking that much. The human body wants to walk like 5, I think, if I remember right. I think it's between 5 and 8 miles. Our body is designed to do 8 miles a day. And I might be wrong. It might be even up to 10 miles per day. That's what our body's designed to do. Okay. We have to get our design. If that is true, then we need to get our body up to that 8 to 10 mile a day mark, right? Sounds crazy right now. But what if you got your body to do 8 to 10 miles? Like it could potentially do a 10-mile walk and you'd feel good, right? So that's pretty good. This one you kind of know, it was 2025's focus as well, but is focusing on gut health. which we are doing hardcore at the office, like gut microbiome help, a lot of those kind of things. Restoring your gut microbiome with fermented foods, fiber-rich meals, or simple hacks like pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, it helps a little bit. It's hailed as an underrated boost for energy, brain fog, and immunity. Also, equaling. So remember that gut health is probably what a lot of people are missing in a lot of different conditions. Eating whole, nourishing foods, getting away from ultra processed garbage that's out there. Did you know this is crazy? 60 to 70% of a child's diet once they start school is ultra processed. That's crazy. That's a tough one. We have to do, as a society, we got to change that crap. That's why we have a bunch of sick kids, and that's what is one of the most troubling aspects of everything, and how, we have a part of society that's like twitching with these changes, and a part of the society that's knowing it's needed to come for a ton of time. They did bring up a point, and we'll bring up this, like with whole, nourishing foods. One of the things that is happening that for my kids, and I didn't think about this, but I'm glad I listened to this press conference. They changed the food pyramid. Okay. So now fat is not the evil empire that it was. We know that, the Whole Health Weekly is known like good fats are absolutely fantastic, and actually not just fantastic, vital for health, right? So the stuff they used to say was really bad for you and all the artery stuff they've never proven any of that. So this good fats, lard, butter, the dairy was made into this evil empire that was causing all this heart stuff. And now, like we've gotten right. We get low fat, low dairy, all these things, right? And the biggest thing that happened is heart disease went up. So apparently it doesn't work. But here's the problem. Like, how do you go like 15 years? If it goes up, wouldn't we go, hey, time out? Maybe we're not doing this right. It took this freaking long. Like that's the part that is always going to be like mind numbing to me. Cause it's like, okay, all of us saw it. Like if the conditions are getting worse based on the food we're eating, maybe it's time to look at the food we're eating. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. But, we don't got enough to sit in the back room of a politician. I heard this one that was so funny. Imagine, I think we should have a law that says once a politician gets money from a giant corporation, they have to wear a patch or a tattoo. So those are the two. It can be a temporary tattoo. It can be temporary. One of the henna ones. You know what I mean? So you could do like a henna tattoo, but you have to put like whatever company it is, right? So I won't name any of the big. Be like, all right, let's say Myers Chiropractic gave a bunch of money to make everybody have disc herniations. So then I got the politician who would have to wear like a Myers Chiropractic henna tattoo on their sleeve. Be awesome. I think and in any debate, you should have to like in the background, instead of, build back better, make this healthy again, whatever, right? You'd have all the sponsors, right? So I think that would be great. I think that should be a legal precedent that you have to do. Like, and maybe make it not as expensive to run for office. Maybe that would be a good idea. I don't know. It's kind of, yes, on their forehead. Yes, Terry, I love this. This is so cool. So on their forehead would be fantastic. Like they'd just be all tatted, right? They'd be all tatted up. And it could be it could be temporary, because if the person didn't get the, once they saw it and they, if they don't get the office, then you can take it off. You don't have to be permanent. But anyway, I digress on that. Okay. So here is the next one. Ooh, I like this one. This is another trend this week. Regulate your nervous system. Ha ha. So you start with chiropractic, number one. That's what I would do. Start doing a regular chiropractic. Come in when you don't hurt just to get checked once in a while. You don't need to do it all the time. Just remember that. Okay. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, or mindfulness are exploding as preventative medicine. Pair this with mental health anchors like journaling or playtime, which is kind of cool, for stress reduction. Absolutely. So I think we all need to focus on doing that. I think we need to have those times. I think we're pretty good at the reducing stress, let's say after work or, those kind of things. I think we're getting better at that. You know, People are more engaged. I can see it happening like after COVID, no one would even go outside, everybody became hermits. And now you can see the group because one of these days I'm going to have the Prize Inside group that like listens to it. We're going to a bar or a restaurant or something, going to eat delicious food, and we're just going to sit around and talk, because that is my ultimate goal, is to say, all right, I want to have this group. I want to empowering also makes really cool friendships, like if somebody could go, we could talk about the craziest thing, and especially the Prize Inside people that are kind of more open to having conversations, and we're not like stuck in our paradigm. And that's what is so hard, right? Like sometimes we get stuck in these paradigms and you almost get mad, and vaccines are one of them, like we can't even discern, like somebody would say that like a little vaccine or something, that questioning it is weird that we have this much pushback, but it's okay. I mean, it's one of those things where if the conversation's starting to happen, then we can be in a better spot, right? And so that's pretty cool. This one is a big one. Stay hydrated and simple. So to drink 2 to 3 plus liters of water daily. Put some cucumber infused for fun is what it says. Keep overall habits realistic. There's no magic fixes, which is cool. And just small changes like more sunlight, resistance training a little bit. That would be cool. Okay. So I think we did pretty good there. I think we went over some good stuff. Let's go. Terry brought that up. All right. Let me look. I pulled up the new. Oh man, look up. Hang on. What does? I want to write because the food pyramid is really what I'm excited about. What does? Let's see. All right. Holding for processing. Okay. Okay. So this is what the explanation. This is going to be pretty cool. So we're going to walk through this. I think this is a little more important than the vaccine guy. We'll talk about that later. Don't want to make anybody like twitch or anything. So the food pyramid introduced today, January 7th, 2026, as part of dietary guidelines for Americans from 2025 to 2030. It marks a significant shift in U.S. nutrition policy. It replaces My Plate icon and divided, emphasizing grains, vegetables, fruit, protein, and dairy, and revives the pyramid concept in an inverted, upside-down form. Okay. And I'll share my screen when I get this visual up. So let's do, so the very top of it is now in the widest section. The foods to prioritize and eat the most of include protein, including meats, seafood, eggs, that kind of stuff. Dairy's up there. Okay. So the widest section, fruits, veggies, and healthy fats. So those are all the top. Okay. The bottom, the smallest section, the foods to eat in moderation, are whole grains. So that's interesting. So we're reducing emphasis on the grains, which, if you remember, our old one was a lot of grains and a lot less meat, veggies, and fat. Okay. Especially fat. Okay. The overall focus is to prioritize whole, nutrient dense, real foods, higher protein intake, now recommended to be 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay. So remember that 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, right? Full fat dairy instead of, slim dairy. Minimize highly processed foods, added sugars or our fake sugar stuff, and ultra processed items. We knew all that, right? So, but this represents a huge change in promoting whole foods over the processed ones, which leave there and tons of less emphasis on the grains. Okay. So let me show you. Let me bring up. This is a good shot. All right. So let's screen share. So this one's pretty cool. Oh, where's it at? Is it in this one? It must be this one. Nope, this one. There it is. Okay. So this one is the new health pyramid. It's inverted. Okay. So the smallest at the bottom. So you can see how all your chicken, your beef, your fat, your oils, your avocado, your normal fruits and veggies. All of us know a lot of these things. But what happens, the reason this is so important is because this is going to be taught for the next 5 years to our kids. Okay. And what I do know in doing middle school robotics and meeting a lot of kids and a lot of athletes, they'll find the information, guys. These kids are not stupid. They're very, very smart. And a lot of times the athletes feel and have figured out a lot of these ways to eat. Okay. But the problem is if our education is teaching a different way, we don't know. Like all of it, me growing up, when you said carb load, the carb load before a football game, of course, pizza and spaghetti were the two things, right? But there's so much processed stuff in that, right? And that's not good. Those are simple carbohydrates, not the complex stuff like in fruits and vegetables. No one ever said carb load and then did a salad. But that's what these kids are doing now. They're understanding that the carbohydrates they want is about the quality of the carbohydrate, right? So, and the flour-based, grain-based, those kind of the grainy stuff is the stuff that is not as high quality as let's say your carbohydrate you're going to get from fruits and vegetables. Okay. So that's the exciting part. You're going to see better health outcomes in your younger populations, because now that we've changed that, maybe at our schools that we're going to have some better choices for these kids. And once those kids get those choices and start eating them, it's going to be incredible, honestly. So that's where I stand on that one. The food pyramid was a really cool thing. It literally came out today, and I had to watch the press conference because it was just cool. Like they were saying, I didn't know this actually happened. Somebody was a child was diagnosed and given Ozempic at 6 years old. 6 years old. Oh, okay. We got problems if that's happening. Okay. So we have to start thinking in terms of like, what? And that was from these guys that were talking. Like, we can't be doing that. That doesn't make any sense. We need to start in a proper form, and then a lot of these things will start changing. So the biggest thing that I saw with the food pyramid, though, to be honest with you, was, and they said it's going to be hard to get everybody this stuff. The lady said in the the experts, there's some good experts out there that talk about a lot of this, but one of the things that you think about, and one of the major challenges, is she called it a food desert. So places that can't get like Whole Foods. And I didn't, you don't realize, there's some towns that have like one little convenience store and that's it, for like 40 miles. And what if if a person doesn't drive, all those kind of things. So there is definitely some challenges to this process, but let's look at those challenges and see what the heck we can do. In fact, also, it'll actually sustain people and actually, you know, what if oh, this is going to be scary, guys. What if people grew stuff in their garden and sold it? And like they somehow we made that an easy process. What if, like instead of these local farmers that I would love to see, 50 head of cattle because everybody's buying their meat from this one guy, right? Or this one farmer or whatever, but they're local. When we start to break those apart, then we're going to start seeing those changes. But we got to look and we got to really focus. Our job is public. We want this done. Let's figure out what we got to do to get what she called the food desert, which I like that saying. Like an inner city kid. Think about that. Did they get high-end groceries that are Whole Foods? Like, I don't know. Let's say inner city Detroit or inner city Chicago. What is their access going to be like? And we have to put that focus. If we focus on those kind of things and those kind of priorities, that means a lot of my kids will see that it's a very good thing, right? And so if you're able to start that, maybe that's when it'll be there. But that was interesting. I got to think about what the heck we're going to do on that part. So with that said, let's start talking. Oh man, I try to only keep it to like an hour, but we might have to hit a couple. I'm going to do 2 Dr. Mercola articles. I should have chilled on the other stuff, but the food pyramid was pretty exciting. So Dr. We'll hit it next Wednesday. So there's a couple really good articles in Dr. Mercola's. So we're going to go over that and then we will call it a night from there. So, but I love this one. Okay. This is an article by Dr. Mercola. It's how artificial light undermines your liver health. Okay. So remember, artificial light, we're talking light bulbs, we're talking phones, we're talking computers, TVs, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So this is the science behind that. Your circadian rhythm controls vital organ functions, including how your liver processes nutrients and filters toxins. Exposure to artificial blue light, which is off your phone, off your computer, disrupts this rhythm, triggering a chain reaction that destabilizes liver health. German researchers found that long-term artificial light exposure alters liver gene expression and melatonin production, contributing to the development of progression of fatty liver disease over time. Oof. I got a little add on to that. So fatty liver has been getting diagnosed a lot more. When we'd heard fatty liver prior to, we always thought alcoholics. But all of a sudden, they're seeing a spike and an uptick in fatty liver disease. And one of the reasons they just can't figure it out. We thought, I was assuming it was just from like severely ultra processed foods that our kids are getting, causing that liver to work hard. But now they're saying there could be a progression, having too much blue light, to create some fatty liver disease, which is not great. An earlier controlled animal study showed that constant light combined with a high-fat diet led to a more weight gain, insulin resistance, and gut-derived liver inflammation than the same diet under normal lighting. Whoa, that's crazy. The circadian rhythm disruption caused by artificial light doesn't just affect the liver, however. It's linked to obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, hormone-driven cancers, and a higher rate of depression and anxiety. So just remember that when we're talking about blue light, okay? Simple steps like dimming household lights after sunset and wearing blue blocking glasses in the evening and limiting screen time at night can really help align your circadian rhythm and protect your liver. So it doesn't take a lot. We're going to still be on phones and, those kind of things. Those are going to be there. But now that you're empowered to know it, it's going to be really helpful because like now you can see what the damage does of that little blue light. Think of like in your head, think of your phone as like a microwave. Would you stick your arm in a microwave? Right? Because there's like all those how does that microwave do that? Heat up that food that fast? It's got to be some kind of nuclear weapon, right? And that's one of the things is like it does cellular damage. And this is proving it in the liver, especially. Okay, so I like this one, and then there's like 4 more, but I'm going to make sure next week I get on these articles. But this one's cool. Kimchi. I really like this one because my wife and I made kimchi because my daughter makes I don't know what kind of noodle. What is it called? She makes this like Oriental bowl that was like I don't know if it was on YouTube or TikTok, and oh my God, it was so good. It was like a soup. Oh, what is the noodles? If you guys remember the noodles it's a ramen noodle bowl. That's what it is. So it's ramen noodles. There's not a ton it was the broth she made that was incredible. So the broth, these ramen noodles, and a little kimchi off the side was absolutely delightful. It was like perfect. So this kimchi meal was really, really good. And so they're going to show you what I've known for a long time. It's a fermented food, right? And so there's ways to make it, but how kimchi helps your immune system work smarter. Okay. So kimchi is a traditional Korean fermented vegetable dish, and it's rich in diverse lactic acid bacteria, bioactive compounds, and fibers that support gut integrity, microbial balance, immune signaling, and overall metabolic resilience. A study published in NPJ Science of Food used single-cell RNA sequencing to map how daily kimchi intake influences immune cells, offering insight into food-driven changes in human immune regulation. Their findings showed that kimchi strengthened key immune functions by helping cells recognize threats more effectively and supporting balanced T cell activity without triggering overactive immune system. T cells are one of many of your cells of the immune system. It's a very important one, but it shows that there's something with that with kimchi. Beyond immune modulation, which is keeping the immune system working right, kimchi intake supports metabolic health, reduces body fat, improves cholesterol markers, nourishes the gut microbiome, strengthens the gut barrier, enhances digestion, and influences mood through gut-brain signaling. This makes me want my daughter to make that dish once again, maybe this weekend. All right. Choosing raw, unpasteurized kimchi, which we did that. We made it in a jar, and I'll talk to you about that. With simple ingredients, ensures you get the full benefit of its live cultures. Homemade versions offer more control and better microbial diversity. Okay, so kimchi, you can. Yes, Bradford's alive. I'm so happy. That is good. Dude, I'm telling you guys, look up ramen noodle bowl with kimchi. If you can find the recipe, if I find it for my daughter, I will get it. I'm not joking. That was one of the best things I've ever, like, she decided one Friday night, she's like, well, let's do ramen night. And so, and of course, ramen, the noodles aren't great for you, but the organic soup, I mean, oh my goodness, the broth that she made was so delicious. It was unbelievable. And then you put this kimchi off to the side, and that was the other thing. And she took an egg, so there was some kind of egg on it, and you did a combination of all those flavors. I was like, where has this been my whole life? It was, and then what's crazy, it was just basically a bunch of broth, but it was so full. You were so filling that it was just this perfect balance that way. So remember that. So we make our own kimchi. I found a recipe for kimchi. We use a big jar, right? Kimchi has carrots, cabbage. I can't remember. You chop up the different veggies, right? And you just do it like a fermentation. Maybe we'll do that too, just to walk you guys through like how to do sauerkraut. Because once you know how to do sauerkraut in a fermentation, most of the time, everything else is kind of like an offshoot of that, right? So the idea behind fermentation is that you're taking a vegetable and basically submersing it in water, okay? And usually it's going to be the water that the vegetable creates itself, okay? So that water, you go down. Now why? Because it creates anaerobic, okay? So these anaerobic bacteria start to eat or break down the plant, okay? So now it's underwater. There's no oxygen getting there. And so all these bacteria are coming in and trying to break down, the vegetable. Okay. So what occurs is that these probiotics, because in our body we have these anaerobic, like fermented basically bacteria that live in our gut. They don't get a lot of oxygen play, right? It's just all in there. So a lot of those good gut bacteria find their way into this fermented food. Kimchi is a great way. Sauerkraut. I was just talking. I want to get really masterful at kombucha. Homemade kombucha is really, really good, especially if you can figure out your flavors, because it can stop you from drinking the pop, right, or the fake sugar garbage that's out there. And so a lot of times starting to play with these different ones, I try to eat pretty much every night. I do it. I try to eat some type of fermented food every night with every dinner. Okay. So at least you're getting that, aspect of good gut bacteria. I also do a probiotic in the morning, but I am very understanding that the gut microbiome is super important. It's going unchecked a lot, but it's one of those things that could change your entire world, I swear. But remember the kimchi and what it can do for that immune system. It's pretty cool. So with that, ladies and germs, I try to keep it in an hour. Tonight I could have went to like 2 hours, no questions asked. It's like, man, there's some good information this week. Some weeks it's not a big health week, but this week was pretty big. You got the vaccine stuff, you got the food pyramid, and then you had all these really cool articles kind of get out there. So with that said, if you guys are interested and you ever want me to talk about a subject, let me know, right? Let me know how that goes. Okay. Or if there's a subject you'd like to talk about. I might do this Sunday. I might do infant adjusting. I think that would be cool. Or if I find a condition that we need to talk about. So, and there's quite a few of those. That's what this weekend is all about, to try to find different solutions for people. So with that said, you guys rock. I'll see you Sunday night. Oh, Brian, don't be telling people. Jeez, that's right. Oh, cloves. All right, deal. Tension headaches. Oh, I like that one a lot too. So you just gave me my next two subjects. So cloves, I really would like to learn more about those. There's a lot of little things with those, actually. And then tension headaches would be a great topic, because migraines we've done, but tension headaches are a whole different animal. So why don't we do that? So, all right, tension headaches it is, Brian, for 100. That's how it works. All right. With that said, you guys enjoy your night. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of the week. It's supposed to be warm in Michigan, so that'll be great. So have a good one. Take it easy.